my sense is that the news that we typically get on the big networks is pretty heavily processed. I feel like I'm getting another perspective on the real news.
Since November 5th, the Israeli government has maintained a complete seal on all entry points into the Gaza Strip, including blocking the humanitarian assistance that was being permitted during the partial blockade that has been in place since June of 2007. Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister and Kadima Party leader Tzipi Livni offered the following explanation for the blockade during a meeting with British Foreign Secretary David Miliband.
These are difficult times in Israel since while we are talking there are ongoing attacks from Gaza Strip, which is controlled by Hamas, on our citizens, especially in Sderot. I heard that you're going to visit Sderot and I welcome you on this, but we expect the international community to support the Israeli position on this. Israel cannot just sit watching our citizens under attacks.
The Israeli government has forbidden all foreign journalists from entering the Gaza Strip. To find out how this situation of complete isolation is affecting the citizens of Gaza, The Real News spoke to local journalist Sameh Habeeb, who joined us by phone from Gaza City.
Journalists are not allowed to get into the Gaza Strip since more than 3 weeks now. Ran out of fuel. There is no electricity, but in a few places, in some neighborhoods, you can find electricity, but in other areas you cannot find electricity. But as for the food, we do have some sufficient food, but within 14 days the bread will run out. Within 14 days. Basically, the Gaza hospitals depend only on the generators. The power blackout is happening on a daily basis now. So the hospitals are being backed and supported by the generators, and some of the generators went down during the Gaza Strip, leaving some hospitals in chaotic situation. The other issue is the issue of preventing the sick people to travel outside for treatment from Egypt and Israel. And another problem, not enough drugs and not enough medicines getting into the Gaza Strip. Also, regarding the sewage system in the Gaza Strip, this system depends basically on power, but now we don't have sufficient power for only some hours. So they depend only on the generators. We have 3 main sewage pools and lagoons here in the Gaza Strip, one in the north, one in Gaza City, and one in Khan Younis City. Some of the lagoons are leaking into the fresh drinking water in its wells. So this is contaminating fresh drinking water.
As a result of the continuous cut of electricity in the power plants, we are facing a serious problem in providing the population of its essential needs of water supply. In addition to that, we are facing now a problem in treating the produced wastewater, and this is in link with the continuous closure of Gaza commercial borders, which resulted to a severe shortage in our materials for operation and maintenance. Natural and normal flow of materials, chlorine should be allowed to the CNW.
Swollen sewage lagoons from lack of treatment bring the threat of flooding, a phenomenon Gazans know all too well.
A heavy rain will be taking place, and it will be overwhelming some places in the neighborhood. And we have already this happened before, in which a heavy rain took place in Gaza, and many neighborhoods flooded, and it was in Khan Younis City and in the Valley refugee camp. And the problem exists also in the ability of the Gaza authority to respond for such crisis. And we have already around 77 million liters of sewage water leaking and contaminating the Mediterranean Sea, causing a very big problem for the fishing and fish resources.
While the situation in Gaza is clearly a devastating one, Gazans are trying to go on with their lives.
Children are still going to school, and the educational system is still working. But I mean, when you don't have electricity in your house, my sisters, they cannot study well after they get to my home because they don't have light most of the time to study. But they go to school, they study, life goes on besides what we have here. The people are generally frustrated here, and they think that this policy of collective punishment is false, it's wrongful, it's bad, and it's more harmful for the Israelis than it's better, because it makes like a kind of hatred growing with the new generation. Today there was a music concert in Gaza against the Israeli siege, and it was a message for the international community to say that we Palestinians, we need freedom, we fight only for freedom, we don't fight for any other thing. And this is the mainstream, and the people are saying this in Gaza.
This is the sort of thing we can build right now without anyone else's permission from the government or from the business community. It's the power's in our hands.
If we're not going to sleepwalk into more wars and into environmental disaster, we think we need to start with a television news network that won't bow to pressure and has the courage to seek facts. And that means independent economics. And that's why we need you.
Real hope means facing a complex reality. Your tax-deductible donation makes it possible. Please contribute. Visit therealnews.com.